Welcome to another episode of Driver Stories. I'm your host, Pam Spack-Rotella. Today, I'm sitting down with Brittany Jackson, an owner-operator on our anhydrous ammonia team. At just 28 years old, Brittany has already built an impressive career. In this episode, we'll talk about what it's like being a woman in a male-dominated industry, what it's like to make the change from a company driver to owner-operator, and the responsibility that comes with hauling products like anhydrous ammonia. Let's get started. Are you from Houston? Is that where you were born?
Actually, I tell everybody that asks that I'm kind of like a hybrid because I was born in California and raised in Texas. So, most of my family is over in California anyways. We lived in, we kind of lived in a couple of places, Carson, Denwall, Oakland, just all around Orange County, like just all over in there. And then we moved when I was probably still in early years, elementary, out to Texas.
Huh.
Yeah,
why did you guys move?
Big trip. When was that? It's all such a blur. I think I was like 7, 6 or 7 when we moved, in early 2000s, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And then
you went to Houston?
Technically Katy, if we want to get technical, but it was basically Houston. And of course, we moved around in the area there as well. Right now we're in Cypress, which is basically like North Houston, if you want to be technical.
Yeah. So you went to high school in Katy, or where'd you go to high school?
High school, I went to Cy Falls. I stayed there the whole 4 years because when we moved, she still talks about it to this day. When we moved, my sister was in her senior year of high school. She was already grandfather with friends and stuff over in California. Then we moved, and she's in a completely new school when we come over to Texas. So my mom, she was like, okay, we'll just stay put right here and let you finish. So I still have high school friends till this day that we basically went through all 4 years of high school together and still talk from then. So,
did you play sports in high school?
I was more of the bookworm, if that's PC to say. I did do track, try to do shot put and discus. Shot put and discus, and then cross country for a small stint. Because I was kind of like a runner, like my dad. He used to run marathons. He doesn't really do it now because it's just, old age or whatever. But I kind of picked that up myself. And then I tried my hand at other stuff like basketball, volleyball. But I was more of the, student council type. And then I still consider myself an artist. So I did more stuff like the National Art Honor Society is what they called it, and they would basically just do different art projects around the school. Like I remember our billboard, the poster that for the school, we got the task of upgrading it and stuff. So I did stuff like that and just various projects like that. I still draw to this day. Even on my 10, I'll just doodle. And actually, I'm working on a coloring book right now that's basically a floral designs or whatever. So that was more of my deal, just doing artwork. I did one club. It was PETA for animals. I still love animals, but I still lean heavily into the art part of my personality.
So what did you do after high school then?
I kind of bounced around for like different jobs and stuff initially. So during high school, I had all of my friends were like, studies heavy and like, class like 3.4, 4.0 GPA. They already know what they wanted to do when they got before they even got out of high school. So I was kind of feeling the pressure from that, still trying to understand myself, like what is it that I wanted to do. And I wasn't too sure. So I kind of took a break from schooling in general. I didn't go straight into college. I did get my AA and bachelor's a little bit later, but I stopped and did just trying to be into the workforce a little bit, just to kind of get a reprieve from the assignments are due, deadlines, this, that, and the other, just the whole school culture. Um, I would say that maybe like about two 2 to 3 years after is when I was okay. I kind of want to get my skills with the art. I kind of want to work on that a little bit more because that just was like it's a thing that I still do today. Like I haven't put it down since picking it up. Um, and that's one thing that my mom likes to remind me of. She was like glad that we moved to Texas because if not, she doesn't know that I would have discovered my tendency to draw. So that's one thing that I kind of still hold on to. And then once I decided that was something I would like to pursue a little bit more, I went to like community college in it was Lone Star College, and then I went there for a few years, got a degree in visual communication, which is basically like animation, 3D modeling, rigging, and all that stuff. And I enjoyed it, but there was the aspect of it that was kind of like, mm, it was too, it was too, what is the word? Like corporate. Like they want you to climb the ladder and oh, you got to be the best of the best and make sure your portfolio is on point. And I'm like, well, yeah, I got to a point where I was like, I don't want to turn this into a job. I enjoy this, but I don't want to turn it into anything else. So I kind of backed away from that a little and went back
Okay.
to work doing odd jobs here and there.
Okay. And then did I hear you got your degree? Was that next?
Uh, yeah. So that was about 2 years just doing like the basics, like their credential
Yeah.
work, those kind of classes and stuff. And then after that, I did another 2 years working directly in the visual communication field. I thought I was going
Okay.
to do what is it? It was basically like a minor in like video game programming, where you like basically
Are you a gamer?
I was. I
Okay.
was. Not so much now. I really only like a handful of games, and they're all like the violent, like beat 'em up kind of games. So
Oh,
I
great.
kind of,
Okay.
I kind of got away from that a little
Uh-huh.
bit. But yeah, I did have an interest in it a little bit of an obsession, if you will. Just kind of, the type they're locked in the room for hours on end. They will. Yeah, I had that phase, but
Okay.
I've since kind of moved away from it just a little bit, to focus on other things. But yeah, heavy
So
gamer.
how
I
does
still have a bunch of gamer friends.
well, we all got gamer friends, right? So how does truck driving come into that whole scenario?
Believe it or not, it was kind of under the surface the whole time. I just
Okay.
didn't really know what avenue to take, to be honest. Um, there was a rule, I guess, in my family that my grandfather imposed on the daughters of the family. They were like, he was basically like, y'all, no, you're not driving. no. So they didn't even venture into it. He's no longer with us. So I kind of broke out of that mold, if you will, and I kind of ventured into it anyways. Um, my family history, so my grandfather, he did it. He actually had his own junkyard. He did scrap metal and like, just basically junk and all that stuff that he would have like on his yard or whatever. He was hauling flatbed, self-employed. I think he had like his own small fleet and everything. And let my mom tell it. He said he had been driving since he was like 4, which I know, of course, that's not true, but like basically all of his life, you know.
Okay.
And I have a couple other family members. I have a couple uncles that used to do it. My dad still drives. He's getting close to retirement, but he's been doing it for like close to 3 or 4 decades as well. So it's part of my history. And then, of course, for me, I stepped into it. I want to say like a little bit after COVID, I believe. Yeah, it was after COVID. I was still working, doing just odd jobs here and there, working overnight and just trying to pay off debt from school and everything. And then my mom told me that she saw it on the news that there was a shortage of drivers. And then lo and behold, like after that, maybe a short time after, we see that Lone Star, still the same college, not just a different campus, they had a program where they were having people get their license. So I, did the steps and filled out the paperwork and then enrolled and, started from there basically. And that was an interesting ride because I was still working while I was going to school. It was about 8 hours at the school. And then I had one job that was part-time that I would work on the weekends, and then another job that I was doing full-time. So between the three, I was just like moving back and forth. And then once I actually graduated and got my license, then I had to make the choice. Well, I need to move on with this, so I gotta like something has to be cut loose. So
Yeah. Who was your first truck driving job with?
it was with Schneider. I started doing, well, I learned how to drive on a 53 footer, of course, but ever since I actually was actually in the field, have done nothing but tankers. It was actually funny because before I actually started driving, I was like trying to see, okay, what kind of haul you want to specialize in. I thought about cattle hauling. I thought about heavy haul or oversized. And then I had this weird inclination to be like, well, maybe I could be one of those heavy duty tow people that are like road on the side of the freeway hooking stuff up. And of course, everybody that I mentioned that to was like, "You're little. Are you sure you want to do that?" So I took the steps to try and learn what was necessary to actually be able to do that. And then I was just like, you know what, no, I'm gonna find something else. So I ended up doing tankers. So I started with chemicals, and then they had me do like some food grade here and there, like milk, water, sugar, stuff like that. And then slowly but surely, I just was all chemicals all the time, all hazmat, just completely. I was like, well, here I am. This works for me. This is great. So kind of just stuck with that. But
Were there any other women in your truck driving school class?
actually, let me think. I want to say it was me and like 3 other women that I remember in our class. One of them I actually still talk to today. And it's funny because she got a job with them as well, like maybe a couple months or so before me. And she was doing team driving with her husband, and they were telling me about it. Like, oh, you should come. You should come over here. It's good. And it was good. So, but I don't. I like my space. I like my alone time. So I opted out of the team driving. I've been solo the whole time, and I this is where I'll stay basically. But yeah, it was only like it was only three or four of us there. The other two, I don't think they drive anymore, so I'm not certain. But I mean, yeah,
So tankers,
it's not for the
when you
faint of
went,
heart.
yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. When you went to Snyder and were driving tankers, there probably weren't very many women doing that either.
No, I had all of the women that I interacted with there were dispatch, and one trainer, one driver that actually trained people. They actually couldn't find a dedicated woman driver to train me. So when I trained, I had to do local work with a guy, like, you know, in and out, do our runs, and then we go back to the house. Um, so so that was my training experience, like with them to start. And then of course, when you go from that, I was hired on as an OTR driver. So when they actually sent me my first load, I'm going to Georgia. I've never been to Georgia before then, and I've certainly never been to Georgia in a truck. So I mean, after having all of my experience, looking back on it now, I'm like, that was a cakewalk. But I don't know that when I first start, you know. So every OTR experience that I've had starting was unique to me. Like I didn't have anybody showing me how to live on the road, just in general. Like it was all new. All of it was new. It was, yeah, it was very interesting too. So
I'll bet it was. When did you
yeah.
when did you come to LGT then? It was last year sometime, right?
I believe it was August. Was it August? June, July, August. I believe it was sometime between July and August.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah. So it's going on. It was about almost 2 years. It's kind of going
Okay.
on 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you first came over, you were a company driver, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We actually had the conversation. I remember because I looked and I saw that the job posting online, and we had our talk, and it was for owner operator, lease operator, and we talked about it, and you were like, well, maybe you want to try being a company driver and to see if you're, you know, if this is something that you want first. And I did, and I was like, well, I've done that, and I'm still here, so yeah. Let me go ahead and sign the lease. So, so yeah.
So were you nervous when you became a lease driver instead of a company driver?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Because while it's the same job, there's still an aspect of it that is it's uncharted territory, you know. Whereas a company driver, if something breaks, it's like, oh, you call them, you're like, hey, your truck broke, or you know, whatever, and then you just wait until somebody takes you to get fixed. Owner operator, of course, now it's like, oh, this is on the truck, this is on me. Let me see how this is like, how this is gonna play out, basically. You know, you be down for days or more than a week and be like, this is not so fun. But you figure it out, you know, have a you have a more flexibility for things not always going exactly as planned. And that's one thing that I've had to learn, just in general, you know, with the trucking industry, and now more so with being a owner operator. It's just some weeks will be better than others, and that's okay. That's just part of the job, you know.
Are you glad? Do you think it was the right move for you?
I think so. I still believe this was a good move for me. It's taught me some things just about life in general. It taught me some things about myself. Expanding some skills here and there. I would say that I was it premature? I wouldn't say it's premature. Maybe there was a little bit more preparation I could have done, but I am making it work. And I have like a lot of family that is they're self-employed, and like in talking with them, they want to impart their wisdom on you. And then of course people in the industry as well, they tell you, oh, make sure you have this going on first. And for the most part, I did do all my due diligence and like my checklists and stuff, so I would say that I prepared as much as I could have. There's just, stuff goes on, and it's just a part of being a truck driver, being a self-employed individual. And for me, like, I mean, I'm a woman, so I can make anything work. Like, that's what we do. So I just, just figure it out, basically. Basically just figure it out. But yeah.
Brittany, do you mind me asking, can you tell us how old you are?
28.
28. So you're our youngest, probably our youngest driver. I think Brian Jonestrong might have you beat by 2 years. I'm not really sure. 28 years old. You've been a company driver. You're now an owner operator, and you also haul anhydrous ammonia for us. So how was that? How because I don't think you did that at the beginning, did you? I can't remember.
When I first got to LGT, they had me training on the cryo side. I think the trainer that was for the anhydrous, I think he was probably with another student at the time. I was doing like argon, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I think
right.
it was argon for like a solid month. And then they switched me over to anhydrous. They said I picked it up pretty decently. Yeah. I mean, I've gone back and forth, so it's been here cryo here, and then propane over here, and then butane, so just a little bit of everything now.
So do you know that you are the only female truck driver we have that hauls anhydrous ammonia for us?
I did not know that. That's actually interesting. That's funny, actually, because I have this thing about me where I'll do something and it'll be like people tell me that basically like you're the pink elephant in the room, and I don't realize it until I start looking around the room, and I'm like, oh wow, I am the only pink elephant in the room. I think that's kind of funny. Like that's just a thing with my personality. I've been doing stuff and I don't even realize what is it like. Almost pioneering in a way. I'm not even intentionally trying to do these things. It just happens.
Yeah.
But
yeah, for you, it's probably it's just another day. But for a lot of us, it's you are a pioneer. Anhydrous ammonia is pretty dangerous stuff, right? You have to put on a suit, and you have to, the inhalation can be lethal. So. How do you like hauling anhydrous ammonia? Do you like it?
It's one of those proceed with caution deals.
Okay.
I mean, everything that we haul is capable of causing a catastrophe if you let it. But that's just the thing, if you let it. So doing all of our safety, we have everything that we do is geared around safety. And of course, if you don't know something, you can go and ask someone. And my mom, she likes to refer to them now as my work uncles, trucker uncles here. Everybody, the guys I get to interact with here, they all have their experiences. And of course, if I have a moment that I need some help. Oh, I know I need to call up this guy, or let me call this one, or let me just call Omaha, like there's backup, and I'm never gonna put myself or just the general public in a dangerous situation by not, doing my due diligence. So, like I said, it's one of those proceed with caution things that you just do the needful, and most times, I would say things go bad when people don't, they get kind of complacent and don't want to, take a second to make sure everything's ladders down, make sure your Dixie gate is actually secure so you don't have an issue on the road, make sure all your fittings and, caps and all that stuff, make sure everything is secure before you start hitting the highway. And then, of course, when you're getting ready to offload, I always have my respirator with me. Like, I got it. I'm having used it in months because I haven't needed it, but it's right here in case I need it. So, yeah, just being careful really is the main key point to, like, take away from just having to haul anything dangerous. But of course, something like that can asphyxiate you in seconds. Like, treat it like the beast that it is.
I do. So
Yeah.
You've mentioned her several times, and I had the pleasure of meeting her at the Christmas party, and I can tell you that your mother is so proud of you. Yeah. Is she your mentor? Is she the one you go to?
I do talk to her about a lot, like a lot of things. And it's funny. It's almost like she's mirroring back some of the things that I kind of have the inclination myself, but I just need to hear like someone else say it. But so we're basically the same person. She just has a little bit more life experience because she had me on her birthday. So we are basically the same person. So yeah, I'll tell her what's going on, and she'll be like, well, how about this? Or maybe have you considered that? Or just, taking into consideration some of the things that I have taught you about life. How does that apply to this situation? So I would say that she is a mentor. She is my go-to for a lot of things because I know for her, she likes to make sure she, dots all her I's and crosses all her T's before she takes anything on. And she imparts that same type of wisdom, or would try to impart that same wisdom to her children, even though we all don't always listen, until after the fact. But yeah, just try to, be prudent and diligent with everything that you do.
Yeah, so let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk about what it means to be a woman in trucking, what it means to be a woman in tankers and in anhydrous ammonia. If you were a mentor and you were talking to your daughter or you were talking to somebody that was interested in going into this field, what would you tell them? Would you encourage them, not encourage them? What would be your advice?
I mean, I think I would encourage them to do a little introspective digging, look at self first and see if this is something that you're actually not only interested in doing, but it's something that you have the personality to do. Like, are you okay with long distance driving? Are you okay with being alone and not having to be managed? You're managing yourself. Like, there's certain aspects to the job that not everybody's suited for. And I think that's something that people don't really take into consideration when they think about truck driving. They just say, oh, you're just moving a truck. You're just going forward and back and left and right sometimes. It's not that hard. It's not that it's hard. It's built for a specific type of person. And I would never discourage anyone from doing something that they think they have an interest in. I would just tell them to, like, make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. And also, don't let someone else's limitations become your own limitations, if that makes sense. I think I've had my fair share of individuals looking at me, like, you're doing this? Why? I've had people close to me be like, what are you doing? you know? Um, yeah, I had someone basically ask me if I wanted to be a school teacher, and I was in the middle of offloading. Like, this was a while ago, but like, it was one of those moments. It was like, what? Like, dumbfounded. What are you talking about? But you have that still. You still have these kind of biases in 2026, surprisingly. So, yeah, I would just say, don't let anybody stop you from doing what you want to do, and don't. That's the same. That goes for others, but that also goes for self as well. Don't stop yourself from doing something just because you think, oh, this, that, or the other. Maybe I'm not equipped. Maybe I don't. You can learn some of the stuff. You can learn and get adjusted to. Like, it's not out of reach just because you're a woman or you have a small stature or whatever reasons people want to conjure up to say this is not for women. Yes, it is, because I'm doing it and I'm doing it every day. So, so yeah.
But how about safety too? I mean, do you worry about, your safety when you're over the road? Like I sometimes get stressed when I'm in a new city and it's at night and I'm trying to find my way and I get, turned around or Google tells me to go some frickin' way that doesn't make any sense. It can be stressful, right?
It is. It definitely is. Now, for me, that kind of stuff is technically built into the job, where like route planning and stuff, and trying to take care of knowing where you got to go and how you're going to get there before you start off. As far as safety goes, I try to be a little bit more strategic about where I get stopped for my day. There's certain truck stops I won't go to. There are certain, like, I'm not doing rest stops, like, at all. Unless if I have to use the restroom, that's one thing. But if I need to find some place to park, I'm not going to a rest stop, because I've heard of horror stories. That's just not something I'm going to do. If I have to end my day sooner than later to avoid that, I feel safer and more comfortable going somewhere else that's like a little bit. And I guess technically it does depend on the rest stop that you pick. But for me, I've heard too many stories that I'm good on the rest stops. Not doing those, not doing it. There's certain truck stops I just can't do it. But yeah, I got my little thumper here, my little rubber mallet, if somebody wants to get too close. And I'm small, but I'm fast. So if I needed to, book it, I think I can pull that off or something. I can pull something off, I'm not a damsel if in distress, if you will. But, yeah, anything if you're creative enough can be a form of defense. But,
Yeah.
As far as like that, I haven't really had any moments where I felt like I'm just in danger, like just imminent danger. It's just coming. I haven't felt like that. There have been some sketchy places. Like, I remember somewhere in Utah, I was driving cross country. It was a load, but it wasn't even really a load. It was just a trailer move from somewhere in California to Chicago. And I think I got turned around. I ended up somewhere in Utah. That was weird. Utah is a weird place anyways. But of course, where I stopped was like destitute. There was no light. It was just parking. I don't even know what the bathroom situation was. I just, just close the curtains. Let me take my 10. Let me get out of here. Like one of those deals. So I've only had like a handful of those, but other than that, yeah, I haven't had too many horror stories of my own. I've just heard things that make me go, okay, let's not duplicate that experience,
What's next for Brittany Jackson?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm still driving. Like, I still enjoy it. I mean, if you ever decide to take LGT to the skies, like, sign me up. I'll go get my pilot's license at a heartbeat if you decide. Because that is one thing that I probably would be inclined to do, just because I've seen and heard people talk about it, and it's pretty cool. And I'd probably be in a better position to afford the training than I would be at a typical job anyway. So, yeah, let me know. Call me up. If you take LGT, if you get LGT in the sky, let me know. I'll go get my credentials. But
maybe you can be the next astronaut, right? Something like that.
You know, that would be fantastic. That'll really, reach a new high for my family anyway. So, but yeah, I'll just be in the truck if you need me.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say thank you for answering my crazy questions sometimes, but you do a great job for us out there, Brittany. And we're awful proud of you. You've really accomplished a lot in the short time that you've been here. So I'm right there in your camp. I'll be rooting you along, and just tell me what you want to do next, okay?
I appreciate it. I really do.
That wraps up this episode. If you want to listen to more episodes of Driver Stories, please follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. To learn more about LGT, please visit our website at lgttransport.com or connect with us on social media. I hope you'll join us on the next episode of Driver Stories.